Joining me now, a man who could be President of the United States, former U.S. Ambassador to the UN and Fox News contributor, John Bolton is here. Welcome back, Ambassador.
Glad to be with you.
So how does the President prioritize these things, specifically with North Korea?
Well, I think this is extremely serious. Obviously, when you launch a missile and it overflies territory of a nation like Japan, it's pretty clear the missile could have landed on that territory, which would be an attack. I think this missile in particular was a way of telling us we could hit Guam if we wanted to. This missile has the range to do it, but we fired it in a different direction just to see what you do. And by the way, there's no indication any missile defense battery from Japan, South Korea, the United States attempted to engage this missile. The Japanese have said they didn't think it was going to hit land. That's a pretty lame excuse. So
should they have shot it down?
Absolutely. What worries me is maybe we collectively didn't have the capability to do it. While theater missile defenses in that region have been built up, let's face it, if a missile like that comes toward the United States, we are not as adequately defended as we could have been if Barack Obama hadn't disliked missile defense so much. So my point is, this launch does take us one step closer to a real reckoning, and there's no blinking at this reality anymore. It's not because of what Trump did, he inherited it, but let's not try and wish this one away.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what North Korea might do, because I don't think, and obviously you have much greater expertise in this area, but it doesn't seem as though they would just lob one missile. It seems like if they knew they were going down, they would throw out as many as they've got, which some experts say is up to 60 nuclear warheads. So if that happened, how would South Korea, Japan, Guam, Hawaii, and the western United States defend itself from what could be a barrage of missiles from North Korea?
Right. Well, let's take one step back, if we could, and say, why does North Korea want this capability to begin with? Some people say, well, it's just defensive. It's because North Korea fears that the United States is going to overthrow it, and so it's purely to protect the regime. That is absolutely not true. I mean, defense is a motive, no doubt about it. But that government in North Korea still thinks it can take over the rest of the Korean peninsula, and it would be the one government governing the whole of the Korean people. So if they get this capability, the first thing they're going to do with it is use it for extortion. Saying, for example, to the United States, you remove all of your troops from South Korea and or Japan or Guam or Okinawa, or we will take out Los Angeles, San Francisco, fill in the blank. So I don't think the first thing North Korea will do will be to launch the weapons, but there's a possibility of it, and that raises really the second point. Many people say, look, these people are not going to commit suicide. They're not crazy. I wouldn't say they're crazy either. I don't think you need a shrink in to tell us how the North Korean regime thinks. I think they're rational in their own bizarre little universe, but they're not rational in our terms. And the facile analogy, we just think like this is the Cold War with deterrence between us and the Soviet Union, I think would be a serious mistake.
And it seems as though we apply that methodology to almost every conflict, and it is certainly outdated, which makes it so difficult and alarming. I want to ask you quickly before we go, you wrote an op-ed for National Review saying that you can no longer get into the White House. Is that because you're a national security threat, or the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, is just cracking down and he's paranoid?
Well, I don't know if I can get into the White House or not, but I apparently can't see the president anymore. That's why I published this game plan to how to get out of the Iran nuclear deal. And there is, in my view, a close connection between Iran and North Korea, both in terms of substantive missile work and quite probably substantive nuclear work. And I think politically, how we handle one may determine how we handle the other, and may determine whether dozens of countries around the world conclude they too can get nuclear weapons.
All right. Ambassador Bolton, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Kennedy.
Good to see you.